Hey, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for watching. I've got some tea that I'm sipping on. Of course, I've got my music going. Happy Friday. I know it has been a crazy week, y'all. I've got on my Hemp Haven shirt, Woman of Color and Cannabis, minority owned hemp shop in Laurel, Maryland. So they are the folks that will be shouting out today. So give me a minute. I had to go live. I'm using a new platform today, one that I used earlier in another business. So I am super excited to see how this all comes out. If you can hear me, go ahead and shoot me down in the comments. I'm live on YouTube, and actually I'm live in our garden club. So shout out to some of our garden club members who are watching this now. This is new. This is exciting. I am super excited for just trying out this new platform. I'm really, really glad that I'm able to go live in 2 different platforms. So I'm just going to stir up my tea here. And happy Friday. So today I'm drinking Nips tea by a good friend of mine who owns Ivy's Tea Company. We've talked about this organization a couple times. And I recently got a batch of some Nips tea from her, and it is super delicious, super delicious. So I'm going to take a sip because typically I either have water or wine. I do have tincture in my tea, so it's a bit of an infusion. But today we're here. We're talking about 420. This is episode 3 of Madam Green Grow Live. I am your host, Keisha, as you can see at the bottom. Of course, I pulled those thirds over, but I am your host, Keisha. I am the co-founder and chief community officer of Madam Green Grow. If you're not familiar with who Madam Green Grow is, give me a second. I'll tell you exactly who Madam Green Grow is. But if you're watching this, whether it's live or via the replay, feel free to drop a comment down and let me know where you're watching this from and how was your 420, because I've heard a bit of mixed things with people's 420. I want to know how your 420 was. And excuse me, I am drinking out of a winter mug because who knows what season we're in right now. I want to check my framing is a little off. So excited. So, man, we made it through another week. I've been counting down the weeks of working from home and the stay-at-home order that we're currently under in Maryland, and we're going on about a month now. So it's really interesting and I'm not going to get to COVID-19 coronavirus, so you don't have to turn this off. But it's been really interesting to see how we adapt as a community as it relates to just our everyday things. So I've mentioned probably in the last 2 episodes, my normal routine was I got up, I drank my pre-workout, I did my stretches, I prayed, did some journaling. I'm all, maybe not necessarily in that order, but before I left the house, I did something of that sort and headed off to the gym. After the gym, had my clothes ready, off to work, boom, bap, same system every time. The frustrating part was that now that the gyms are closed, you don't necessarily have things to do. I've had to become a bit more creative with my morning routine. And if you're familiar with switching up your morning routines, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below what's some of the ways that you've changed up your morning routine since this new I hate saying new normal, but since the pandemic has happened. Are you exercising inside of your home more often? Are you taking longer walks, exploring nature? One of the ways that some of the articles that I've been reading, and we'll get into our show shortly, but I just wanted to give you some tips a little bit about surviving some of the mental pressures that happen, especially when you have your routine has changed drastically. And then, you may be home with your partner in close quarters. You may be home with your partner and your children. So that outlet of normalcy, whether it was a 45 to an hour minute commute or just being out of the house somewhere where your space wasn't necessarily being infiltrated from different areas is just something new that we've all had to adjust to. So I'm really interested to kind of hear how folks' routines have changed, because I know mine has changed. I know my friends have changed. We've just entered tourist season. So shout out to all the tourists who are watching this. I, in fact, am a tourist. My birthday is in a couple of weeks. And I know that, people who know me know that I'm big on birthdays. I'm big on astrology, big on zodiac signs. So I'm really interested to see how this year is. I'm really interested to see how some of my friends who have bigger engagements, graduation, how that shifts. So stay grounded and take time to talk to people outside of your home, because that's the best way to really kind of thrive in this situation, right? You don't necessarily want to have to just survive. So that's my little bit of a vitamin nugget for this episode. And I'm going to go ahead and hop right into the headlines. So actually, I'm going to do this. Should have been prepared for that transition, y'all. Here we go. Boom. All right. So I've got this headlines piece down here. And what I am going to do is take that off. See that? Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see our first headline. So first headline is actually an op-ed that was created by a woman of color in cannabis. It was written to the Washington Blade, which is titled America's LGBT News Source. And what I thought was really interesting about this particular article is, one, it was written from not only someone who we admire in the community, shout out to Khadijah Tribble, who actually submitted this op-ed, but it also exposed a lot of some of the conversations that folks have been having for years about, the LGBT community of color when it comes to their place in the cannabis legalization fight. So she goes into a bit of history. She talks a little bit about some of the points as to why some queer communities should have protections, especially when it comes to small businesses. As you all know, or may not necessarily know, there have been queer advocates who have established themselves in the medical industry, from dispensaries to heads of advocacy organizations. And basically, Khadijah just said, when is our time going to shine? So I encourage you, when you get an opportunity, to check out this article. Shout out to Khadijah again. She's actually the founder of the Marijuana Policy Trust and Marijuana Matters. She also just accepted a position with Curaleaf, a very high profile position. So I am super excited. Maybe soon we can bring her on and get her to talk a bit about her experience in the corporate sector, and also, her opinions on the LGBT community and their representation in the cannabis legalization, or just their visibility, right? All about visibility. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. That is our first headline for the day. That second headline that I'm going to share it's really interesting. It's not women of color specific, but I thought 420 just happened. Here's something that we can take a look at. This actually was written in hotnewhiphop.com. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with the old school blogging days, but this is how we used to get our information, through these websites, Hot New Hip Hop, Complex, which is actually the last publication that we'll be featuring. But this one actually talked a little bit about hip hop's capital in the multi-billion-dollar cannabis industry. And as you all know, some of these familiar faces, not necessarily women of color, but shout out to Billie Holiday, who actually is reported the first victim of the war on drugs. From jazz influences as it relates to cannabis to, Snoop Dogg's impact and his visibility through the 90s and the early 2000s. it all shapes up. So this was a really good, not necessarily a hot take, but it was a really good article that I implore you to read. If you are a member of our newsletter gang, you've seen these headlines, or you will see these headlines depending upon when you receive the newsletter. But the newsletter was sent out today for those. Check your emails there. But this was a really great article. Gave a little bit of the history. It was a bit male heavy on that article, but I mean, if you're looking for really good original content, they talk about Reagan's impact. They talk about hip hop's impact. I mean, just some of the reefer madness that happened, which kind of explains why a lot of our parents, if your parents are in the boomer age or older, this is some of the reasons why they are so staunchly against cannabis use. But this article just breaks it down. I love original content. I love, content in general. So I'm constantly looking for ways to, this is a new one, constantly looking for ways to get that knowledge going. So our last article, like I mentioned, is from Complex. Let me pull that up here. And it goes a little bit away from the hip hop piece, and it talks a little bit about how cannabis companies are offering support through the COVID-19 crisis. This was a really great article that, if you have some time, I really think you should take a look and read. One, it's written by our very own Mary Pryor, woman of color in cannabis. And when I actually took a peek further into this article, I actually was very surprised to learn about some of the efforts that some of the organizations, some of the stakeholders are doing in the cannabis industry, especially when it comes to COVID-19. So, talking about shopping at different minority-owned businesses and how they're supporting their frontline staff. One of the things that I was really interested to see was that not only are some of the essential workers getting Postmate gift cards, passes to Coachella, it was very interesting to kind of compare that to some of the dispensary and industry workers that we have here in Maryland, who I've talked to on a regular basis, and they all talk about how frustrating it is to be essential when the plant is still illegal. So those are some of the things that we've heard time and time again about essential versus illegal. For those who are actually watching this via the Garden Club, I apologize. I see Facebook user and not necessarily your name, but go ahead, let me know, say hi, how you're watching, what's your name so I can greet you. But as this article wraps up, it's also a really, really good read with some really hard facts. I commend Mary for doing the research on this as well. And just leaving it with the call to action. What are some of the things that essential workers need, right? What are some of the things that patients really need? Not necessarily just the Coachella, but give them an opportunity to support that ecosystem locally, right? One of the things that, shout out to Hope Wiseman at Marion, Maine. She's one of the youngest dispensary owners in the U.S. in Maryland, and she's a woman of color in cannabis. She actually had a summit over the 420 week, which was so busy. Oh my gosh, there were so many events, but one of the ways that they've been giving back, and she talked a bit about that conference there, is that they've been doing food drives in the area. Prince George's County, unfortunately, is one of the richest Black counties in the nation, but it also suffers from one of the strongest poverty disparities between the upper class and then the middle class, right? The lower class, that's just an entirely different conversation, So this is a really great article. When you get an opportunity, take a gander at it. Shout out to Mary for dropping her knowledge as always. We're always glad to support women of color in cannabis for every aspect. All right, I'm back. So quick roll call recheck. Those were our headlines for the week. once again, kind of COVID-19 has things a little bit slower and sluggish, a little bit quieter. So people are making their moves in silent, or they're just resting, which is some of the things that we have encouraged a lot of our communities to do, right? There may be a time where you feel like you need to rush, 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 hurry, 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 hurry. But take this time to really deep breaths, connect with the loved ones offline, because these screens will really distort some of the things and methods and ways in which you feel like you should be living your life right now, right? Everybody says take a nap at 2 o'clock and watch Netflix. Take a nap at 2 o'clock and watch Netflix, right? There's no reason, there's no rush. There's no rush until we return to some operating type of society. Relax. Save your money and relax. Learn how to grow some cannabis. Relax. Hey, Erica from the Make and Bake. We really wanted to get up to you all this year. Coronavirus. Shout out to PG. PG is one of my near and dear. I graduated. I'm a proud graduate of Prince George's County Public Schools. And, you know, they always give public schools a bad rap, but shout out to PG. We were great. So, topic of the week. I'm going to slide over to these banners. I'm going to take this one off. We got a topic of the week, which is breaking the stigma. A little bit about the truth of THC. So, as we kind of flow out of Cannabis Awareness Month, next Friday we'll be entering into an entirely different month of May, and we'll be talking a bit about mental health awareness. But breaking that stigma, last week we talked about parents. The week before that, we talked about safe consumption. Last week, we talked a bit about navigating those family norms when it comes to cannabis. The week before that, we talked about safe consumption and not doing too much in preparation for 420, this month of 420. And so today, we're actually going to answer a bit of an Ask GG question along with talking a bit about the topic. And it's how to consume at home. So we posed this question on Instagram, on Facebook, not necessarily in the Garden Club because we had some other conversations that we wanted to have there. But basically, how do you consume at home? So I'm actually going to share my screen and pull up that particular question that we had. So one of the great things about this lovely software is that I can screen share the information that we have in front of us out, but I have to remember that my face is also on camera. So question of the week is, how do you consume at home? Especially if, your family not quite there, So the question we got in our inbox, we actually got it in our email as a response to last week's newsletter. Thank you. But consuming at home, and I have a bit of an opinion, Jamia's got a bit of an opinion when it comes to, so you got the Madam Greengrow opinion that we'll share, but we really wanted to get our community's opinion about consuming at home. So sliding down, first solution is blunt, vape, bong in that order. Hey, if you got to get right to it, get right to it. I guess we weren't quite specific about that, but blunt, vape, bong, hey, sounds like a great combination for a good night. Brashley Blunted said, bongs, papers, and tinctures. Yes, I have designated areas in my room and in kitchen for cannabis supplies. Got to keep those items organized. If you all could see behind this green curtain here, it's a bit of a system when it comes to storing cannabis, keeping cannabis safe, and sometimes keeping it out of sight, because me personally, and I'm sure I'm not the only person. When you see cannabis, you might want to smoke it too, right? You might want to consume it too, whether it's in a tincture, whether it's, flour, whether it's, out of a dab rig, different methods for different things, right? So one of my ulterior opinion, or my ultimate opinion when it came to how to consume at home, is finding one designated place to consume, and also having the proper tools around you when you prepare for a session, right? So if you're about to roll up or you're about to take a hit off your dab rig, make sure you have your concentrate, your dab tool, your rig, your flour, your grinder, your paper, your tips, your ashtray, all set up in one area, right? You don't want to start heating up your rig, or if you're blessed to have an e-nail, you don't want to start heating up your rig and then your butane goes out, or you realize that your tool you left in your bathroom. Stick to one particular place to consume if you can, right? The second thing is, and I'm looking over at it, is you want to get a candle. Now, this candle here, I wish I kept the paper for it, but I think I have a picture of what it looks like. But this particular candle, and any candles, like I mentioned last week, that can kind of help mask the smell of cannabis at home, you definitely want to get it. This one I just got from Walmart during my weekly trip, and it's actually a smoker's candle. I picked it up by accident. I wanted to get more butane. And let me tell you about the butane that I got. So this ain't it. This ain't it. And I get it. This ain't it. So if somebody can give me a recommendation for filling a torch, I greatly appreciate it, because this ain't it. So gotta have your candle. Gotta have something that'll help mask the smell. What you don't want to have is those fruity pina colada, sparkling champagne, fruity, extra fruity smells, because they ain't gonna mask nothing, and it's just gonna smell like the dankest weed in that cute candle you just lit. So don't do it. The last thing is for consuming at home is have an exit plan, right? Once you're done, or even before you're done, once you're done rolling, put your tools, put your papers, put your stuff away, because you don't want to finish your session. And I've been using the term zooted a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and use that here now. But you don't want to be too zooted that you can't put stuff away, right? No, there have been times, 420, where you've gotten too lit, Keisha, and the stuff the next morning was still on the table, and you had a meeting to be in. Okay, so you don't be me. Don't be me. Pack your stuff up before, or even in the middle of your session. Just think to yourself, write yourself a note. I write myself notes all the time. This one says mindset matters, because it does. But write yourself a note, put your shit up, and it'll be easier for when you pull it out the next day. So that is the end of the Ask MGG. I forgot to tell y'all, I can put comments up with this lovely new software. So as I sip my tea, I can go ahead and share your comments. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So shout out to everybody who is watching us live. We are 22 minutes into the Friday Night Live with Madam Greengrow. Hello, hello. If you are watching us via the replay, I'll do this twice on the episode, and you all will do. If you're watching this via the replay, hello, I am Keisha. I am the co-founder of Madam Greengrow. I'm also the Chief Community Officer. So typically, I'm the one who is trying to make sure that we are getting that content moving. My co-founder is the brains and the strategy behind the operation. She's also a studying herbalist, so we look forward to seeing some of her content roll out over the next couple of weeks. So if you have any questions about Madam Greengrow, about the Garden Club, which I'm broadcasting live, shout out to my Garden Club members. That's our private community on Facebook. I'm just tapping stuff here. Feel free to go ahead and drop your comments. I can see those comments here. Shout out to PG. I went through my PG. Husband went to Sulin. I couldn't get into Sulin. It's okay. It's all right. Side note, and then I'm going to finish these comments because I can definitely go off on tangents. But living in the Baltimore metro area, right? One of the things I did not realize when I graduated high school in Maryland, I assumed high school pride was the same throughout all 23 counties plus Baltimore City, right? No. Baltimore City has a little bit of a different culture when it comes to high school. It's almost as if, like, you don't even worry about college. Don't worry. I mean, yes, go to college, be successful. But Poly City, some of the high school battles I've seen in my almost decade of living here is just the battles between the high schools, Poly versus City versus Mervo versus, gosh, and then there's high schools that were here that weren't here when I was, it's just love, 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 love Baltimore City. Cannot wait to buy property in Baltimore City. Can see myself retiring, growing old here in Baltimore City. But this culture, man, is different. It is different. Bougie luminaries are perfect for that. Is that a brand? Should I spend my stimulus money on this? Or are you talking about bougie candles? It works differently. Okay, so shout out to the co-founder. It's in the chat. Who's also a Prince George's County Public School proud graduate. Yeah, so that's his life. What y'all doing? Sipping on, smoking on? My lips are dry. Don't beat me up for putting my chapstick on right now. All right, yes, bougieluminaries.com. All right, I'm gonna check that out. You know, I'm always down to spend my money, especially with women of color, brown, black folk, all of them, everybody. All right. I got real comfortable. Let me slide on back to my schedule. All right, so that's the Ask MGG comments. We also, my phone fell on the floor. There we go. We also got a suggestion about how to consume at home as I wrap this up, which was, I make oil and butter and honey and keep it on hand for cookies and main dishes and drinks. I was just talking to Elena Lulama, Bud Biz Chick, about infusing oils and butters to kind of help when it comes to consuming cannabis, because everyone's talking about not using combustion. So start rolling your J's, start rolling your blunts. I have my own opinions about that, but to be, I know that I'm doing damage to my lungs when I'm consuming at such high heat. So I do use things like tinctures and like balms, but I hadn't thought about honey, and I really was just thinking about the fact that I need to make more oil, butters, and I have tinctures. So how are some ways that you all consume now with the whole coronavirus COVID-19 situations? Are you taking in butters and tinctures and all those things? So, and also let me know how this format works out, because I do use a different system that I thought was a little bit more snazzier, but I like this one. It's just a bit of a transition. So next, I have next there. I'm just gonna hide that and toss me back over here. So our shout out for the week. So let me pull that one up here. As you know, every week we do a shop women of color in cannabis, and we were very privileged to check out Kush and Cute's high healthy hemp oil, beauty oil for the skin. So been using that over the last few days. We'll be sure to let you all know how that goes. But if you happen to have a product or service that you want to get featured very a la QVC style, go ahead and submit a high-res photo of the product and or your logo, because we need some way to promote you. Have a legal entity or business. We are working on something for our legacy market folks. If you want to stay in the legacy market, we're going to talk about how we can help you get your information out there in a different way. And if you are transitioning over into the quote unquote legal market, we've got some programming and courses coming up over the next couple of months that'll help you out with that as well. But please have a legal entity when you submit, and have a way to pay, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a website or hit a DM and folks just don't have no way to pay. And even if you send me, if I can get my money back from Cash App, like just send me something. Send me some way to send you money, because I'm a Taurus and that is what I lead with, my money and my heart. So send away. Send away. Jamia gonna shut it down anyway. It's the Capricorn in this partnership. She gonna shut it down, but go ahead and send us away. Send us your information. Shout out someone who you love, who you've enjoyed, and we'll get them up here. So the second promo segment is, of course, we've got our MGG After Dark that just happened and will probably re-happen again in a pre-recorded session in our Garden Club community where they're watching this live. Shout out to y'all. Hey. Our next one coming up is on May 16th, which is actually my birthday. We'll be talking a bit about the myths in the cannabis industry, and that actually will kind of coincide with our topic of the month for May, which is mental health awareness. And also, as we kind of circle back our Nurture the Truth, where we're talking a bit about busting some of those myths so you and your mom and them can enjoy cannabis and CBD without feeling the wigglies and the stigmas, right? So here is the last kind of, or second to last share of the announcement. April 28th, we've got our book talk that will be happening on Facebook Live. I'm not sure if we're advertising this in the Garden Club. Y'all can, Garden Club folk, let me know down in the comments if this is something that you want to kind of have in the club, or if you're okay with it just being on YouTube. That's where it will be. We'll be reviewing Deshita Dawson's book, How to Succeed in the Cannabis Industry. It's a really great tool, really great workbook for those who are looking to put their skill sets to the forefront, or transitional skill sets in the cannabis. Got my copy here. This is the one that I'll be talking from, not necessarily teaching from, but I'll give you a little bit of an overview with some of the takeaways and highlights that I've had since we got this book in January. It's been so dope. It's allowed me to have another organization in the cannabis industry, and by following some of the tips and tools here, I've been able to look at the entire ecosystem with a bit of a different lens, so to speak, right? Especially when you've been building something for so long. So we'll be talking about Deshita's book on April 28th at 7 p.m. And it will definitely be on YouTube. Not quite sure if it'll be in the Facebook group, but folks will let us know. Here we go with the giveaway. All right, so also, this giveaway here, we are giving away a Tribes Toke CBD full spectrum pen. We're talking about this all month, and we would love to get it to you. So all you have to do is shoot us an email and let us know. I guess every episode will change. So this episode is let us know how you consume at home. Once you do, I'm shipping this off. Deshita was graciously allowed us to give these away. Unfortunately, we weren't able to give them away when she was here in February at shout out to Hemp Haven. She was at the Hemp Haven. She did her book launch there. So we've got some giveaways that we have been dropping in our newsletter. So if you are a part of our newsletter gang, go ahead and do that. Along with the MGG TV here, and we'll be working on something for our Garden Club members. So super excited. Those are the announcements. I'm looking around, checking my time, 33 minutes, and I'm going to hop back in the comments and see if y'all have any questions, comments, all that. So yes, Bougie Luminaries, there's the website. I'm going to check this out after that. Candles for us, by us. Virgin coconut cream wax, dope art, functional art with perks. Ooh, you know, you think I can do that right? Let me just look this up right now. We live. It's all good. What y'all doing? Bougie Luminaries. And I'm just going to share this screen here. Not that one. Ooh. All right, straight off the rip. This is what we see here. Custom candles. Okay, all right. There is, this is a pillow. Okay. Bougie. Are these the candles? Oh, skeet, skeet. Can't touch this. That's cute. Art. Oh, I love some art. Okay. Custom candles. Perfect wedding event favors baby shower. Corporate branded candles. Okay. All right. Fragrance download list. Okay, I'll check this out for sure. Thank you for that suggestion. It's pretty dope. Um, Ticker is nice. Thank you. That is one of the reasons why I invested in the software. Because I love this ticker. I love the banners. The screen share is a little bit, choppier on the transition, but everything else is really cool. I have the ability to interview folks. I can share my screen. If I'm working remotely from someone who is showing something, I could just send them this link. They can enter the studio. It's really good. RSO with almond butter. Oh, you fancy. You fancy. I've recently discovered the lovely, lovely RSO that was homegrown by a farmer in Michigan, but it's amazing. It's delicious. I love it. I've been having issues sleeping because coronavirus doesn't allow me to keep a schedule. RSO is awesome. With almond butter, definitely gonna try that. Bougie is one of my babies. All right. Well, you know what? I'm all about candles and smelling good. I'm definitely gonna try that out. All right. I'm gonna slide off to back to the schedule. So we have our shout out, our woman of color in cannabis shopping shout out is for Hope Wiseman at Marion, Maine. One of the ways that you can support her if you're in Maryland and you're a medical marijuana patient is by spending your dollars at a dispensary. No one says you gotta buy a whole bunch of stuff, but just a little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. So that's who I've suggested for the who we're shopping with. So we talked about the book talk. We talked about the garden club. We've talked about Ask MGG. Oh my goodness, I think that is the end of our show. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. But I guess, it's been a crazy Friday. Did anybody catch the Teddy Riley babyface? The Teddy Riley babyface Instagram battle? And if you did, go ahead and drop in the comments and let me know who you thought won. Because, child, Teddy Riley. Funny. But all right, I'm going to check the comments, see if there are any more questions. If not, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this baby up. We have been on. We have been live. This has been great. Thank you for joining me for another week, which I think will continue through May because I'm in my Taurus bag, y'all. In my Taurus bag. We'll continue this through May and see how it goes. Let me know or go ahead and shoot us a DM, shoot us an email at hi@MadamGreenGrow if you have any suggestions for segments, content, any Ask MGG questions. If you want to win that giveaway, go ahead, shoot us a message. Shout out to Ivy's Tea Company, Who's Tea, Nips Tea. I have to send her this. Actually, give me a second. I'm gonna take a picture. Let's turn that here so she can see. Oh, don't listen, y'all. Don't. Boom. There we go. What does YouTube say for the thumbnail? Thank you so much for powering this episode. Nipsey is delicious. I'm about to go ahead and roll up for the night because it's Friday night and I'm sure DJ Nice is here with a good old live set for us. Jamia's going to finish it off and said Baby had the hits, Teddy had the jams. One thing I learned about Babyface during this battle is that they call him Face. Wow. But I agree. Babyface did have the hits, Teddy had the jams. I still think Babyface won, but go ahead. That's just my opinion. There's Jamia's opinion right there. There's the Madam Gringo opinion. Drop your opinion down and let us know who you thought won. And on that note, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. Feel free to join us in the Garden Club where we have our headlines that drop here, just like they do on MGG TV. We talk a little bit about, share a little bit. We've got our After Dark conversations and just so much more to come. So I'm going to stop rambling, y'all. Have a great Friday night.